Hello, my name is Dags. Welcome to my bedroom. If you don't rock with my new haircut, then please keep that to yourself because I'm already trying not to freak out over how short I cut it because I cut it impulsively as I do. And it's not that I regret it, but I was just thinking, like, shit, what have I done, But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Sorry, I'm being silenced. I wanted to talk about being liked as a person, being liked by other people, specifically, not necessarily a certain group of other people. Sorry, I'm rambling. Don't click away. I have things of value to share with you. Okay, are you really gonna let your deteriorating attention span rob you of the potential knowledge that you can gain from this video if you just had a little bit more patience and decided to stay and watch for a few more minutes? That's what I thought. So anyways, I started thinking about this because I had a conversation with someone the other day, a couple of days ago. I don't know, time is a social construct. Don't take that stuff too seriously. But we were talking about feeling alienated, and I forgot why we were talking about that, but he sort of asked me if I ever feel alienated, and I said, yeah. And then he asked me, like, where? And I just said, in general. And it turns out we both feel the same way about that. We both feel like we don't necessarily fit into any group. And it's not that we can't get along with other people, because we can, definitely. The person I was talking to, my friend, he's very social, like everyone knows him. He rocks with a bunch of different kinds of people and everyone's just chill with him. So it sort of came as a shock to me that he expressed feeling alienated from these groups, or feeling a little bit out of place with these other people that I thought he would really vibe with. You know what I mean? I, on the other hand, I've always been like an awkward weirdo. Like, I'm sorry, it sounds sad boy every time I say that I've felt like a weirdo. It reminds me of that scene from Riverdale where, what's the name of that guy with the hat, Jughead, where he's like, I'm weird, I'm a weirdo. Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat? And it's just so cringy to think about, so I try not to call myself a weirdo. But I know in my heart that is how I feel about myself. And so that's why it sort of came as a shock that him and I had this shared experience of feeling out of place. And because of that, we started talking about, the things that people do to fit in, to be liked, to be digestible for other people. And specifically, he talked about, because he's the type of person who likes to dig deeper into things, like hyperanalyze shit, learn about stuff. And I'm the same way, maybe we don't exactly have the same interest in the same topics, but we're the same in a sense that we want to understand the world on a deeper level. And whether that's connected to us being feeling alienated, I don't know, but it's possible. And so I said that it's like, once you reach this point where you sort of connect a bunch of things that's wrong with the world, and you start seeing things that are considered normal to most people, you start seeing them as like weird, or you start questioning them, whether it's practices, habits, tradition. You start questioning these things. It's sort of like your eyes are just opened, and you start questioning more things about the world. And once you reach that point, it's not exactly that you become smarter, it's just that you become more aware, okay? And you start to notice when the people that you're with aren't aware of these things. They aren't aware of how this thing that they do affects this in the big picture, or how this big abstract concept of society is actually affecting their individual lives. And I know it sounds like a bunch of buzzwords, but it's like, if you get it, then you get it, you know? And so I was sharing that sort of feeling of reaching this point where it's like your eyes are open, not exactly in a spiritual way. It's like a bunch of concepts that you knew, and then you know them and you connect them, and it's like the world makes more sense, but it's not really for the best. It doesn't really spark hope, and instead it kind of sparks despair. Like, you start to realize how a lot of these tiny little things that everyone does is actually harmful in the big picture. And when you reach that point, you can't exactly go back to the way that you were before. You can't take away that awareness. You can't stop noticing those tiny things that you see in your day-to-day life. And because of that, you know, it becomes harder to connect with the people who are still on the level of kind of like oblivion, you know, and they're just not aware of these things. Like, for example, consumerism, or how ChatGPT does actually have detrimental effects to the environment, or how politics do affect them, like their day-to-day lives, and no one is exactly exempt from these policies and laws unless you're some kind of billionaire, millionaire, or one of the corrupt politicians who are putting these policies in place. And okay, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling. Let's take a break. Take a few deep breaths. Stay with me. I know you can focus. I know you have the capacity to focus, have the capacity to understand and to listen. Trust me, it feels like it's an impossible task, but just think about all those TikTok or Reddit stories that you listened to, and when the video was done, you realized you sat through an entire 20-minute story time with Subway Surfers or Minecraft parkour in the background. Like, you have the capacity to pay attention to things, you know. You know, one time I watched a Reddit story and it was 45 minutes long. I'm talking about, I watched that thing like no breaks at all, just straight 45 minutes listening to a story of how a mom abandoned like her 10 kids, and the eldest daughter had to step up and take care of all her siblings. It's a very, very touching, but also very unfortunate story. Anyways, what was I talking about? So yeah, all that being said, when you get to the point where you feel alienated because of how much you know or how much you're aware of, I feel like that does lead to you feeling more lonely. And again, it's like, to really connect with more people, or like the majority of people, you sort of have to sacrifice what you understand about the world, and sort of like close your eyes a little bit, squint your eyes a little bit, and try not to notice all of the bad shit that's going on, just so that you can catch a vibe with people. And, you know, that's not exactly something that can be avoided, especially in places like, I guess, school or work, where you have to work and cooperate with other people, even if maybe you're just not on the same wavelength. But it really made me think about how we tend to just act different in general when we want to be liked by someone, or liked by a group of people. And this can also be applied to one-on-one relationships, romantic relationships. I can't even like count the number of times I've had a friend who's like really intelligent, really deep, layered person, and they sort of just dumb themselves down so that they can get along with this person that they like who's not even cute. Do you get what I mean? Like they would sort of make themselves smaller to accommodate this person that's not even worth their time. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry. I feel like I just threw shade for no reason, but you know what I'm talking about. I feel like that's sort of like a universal experience. And it's frustrating, and it would make you think like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this to yourself. But then you sort of realize that you're not exempted from that kind of habit, that sort of reaction maybe. And no matter how authentic you think you are, there are going to be times where you're just not 100% true to yourself, for the sake of pleasing other people. And I talk about this a lot in my ramble videos, or like, not that I talk about it a lot, but I have talked about it, like authenticity and the like. And the reason I talk about it kind of regularly is because, again, as someone who is neurodivergent and queer and just and just a little bit strange in general, there were a lot of phases in my life where I put on different identities and cosplayed as different kinds of people just so that I could have friends, just so that I could have someone to talk to. And at first it's like, hey, this is working, I'm fitting in with the group, I have friends now, I got a gang, not a literal gang, but you know what I mean. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it would always end up with me just feeling so tuckered out and drained, because again, not being yourself is exhausting. Like, maybe it doesn't feel like that in the moment, but that shit catches up to you, and it's just like, why am I doing this to myself? The same way, as I mentioned, some people will make themselves smaller just so that they can date someone who's not in their league. That, I feel like I didn't phrase that right, but I think you understand what I'm saying. I'm gonna trust that we have a connection in this moment. So yeah, this new era of surveillance, if you know what I'm talking about, it's sort of warping our perceptions of ourselves. It's warping how we choose to present ourselves, how much we decide to conform to societal standards and the like. Every time we post on social media, there's always that thought, like, how are people going to see this? How many likes is this going to get? Is this post going to blow up? Am I going to get a bunch of comments? And even if it's not like influencer level type shit, there's still going to be those thoughts. The same thing with, going outside, putting on makeup, fixing your hair, dressing up. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that. But you can't ignore the fact that it's a sign that we're moving into this new era where we sort of center other people's perception. No, wait, let me rephrase that. We put other people's perceptions of us at the center instead of how we feel to ourselves. Does that make sense? And again, I will go back to this one TikTok that I watched a while back, and it said something like, focus on what life feels like to you and not what your life looks like to other people. And I've held that in my heart with me ever since I came across that video, because people are competitive. People want to get ahead. They want to win the race and shit. Graduate first, get a job first, get promoted first. It's just that kind of thing. But when you think about it, everyone's in their own timeline. Everyone's on their own path. We're not sharing a track. We're not sharing this kind of race thingy. So yeah, focus on what life feels like to you. Focus on what life feels like to you. Because a lot of us tend to have this fear of falling behind. A lot of us are being silenced. A lot of us feel like we are behind, myself included. But when you think about it, it's like, does it matter? Like, what does it matter if you don't graduate on time? What does it matter if you're still figuring shit out, or maybe you don't even know what college course to take or what job you want to pursue? It's like, who cares, just do shit that makes you happy. Take the time to learn about things that you're curious about. Take the time to pursue your own creative endeavors. My bad. Someone was knocking on my door and that shit pissed me off. I'm kidding. Now I lost my train of thought. Guys, this is very frustrating. It's okay. We move. What was I saying? Yeah, I feel like I've talked about this kind of thing before. I'm pretty sure I have, and I have no regrets. I will talk about this same topic again and again until I get it through your skull, because I think it's very important to get to know yourself. People sort of, there's a stigma around self-love, around or rather people misinterpret self-love as narcissism, as being full of yourself, when you don't care enough about how other people perceive you, or when you don't put enough effort into pleasing other people or doing things for other people, and instead focus most of your energy on yourself, on cultivating yourself, on healing yourself, getting to know yourself. Sometimes you can be labeled as selfish, narcissistic, and I guess there is sort of a fine line between those two. But if you're a woman, I'm just gonna say it, but if you're a woman, then you should be more narcissistic, because I think when you grow up as a little girl, you grow into a woman, something that's always taught to us is to be selfless, to do things for others, to serve others. Being a wife means serving your husband. Being a mother means serving your kids. Even as a little kid, you serve your younger siblings, you help out with parental duties and stuff. Like, that's in general just how women are raised. We're sort of taught to be extensions of other people rather than our own individual people, which is sad. But I would say that it's definitely true. If you really think about it, if you really look at it, then you realize just how much that's true. And so if you're a woman, then be more narcissistic, quote unquote narcissistic, because sometimes we just weren't given the luxury to get to know ourselves, to understand ourselves, or to pursue what we want to pursue. And it's like, come on, it's 2025. We should be able to do that. We can wear pants, we can vote. We should at least have the option to focus on ourselves and shit. without the fear of not being completely accepted by society or whoever else. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Try not to dwell too much on being liked. You don't have to stoop down to other people's levels just so that you can catch a vibe with some people. No matter how tempting it may be, because trust me, I know what it's like to want to get along with people because maybe they look cool, maybe they dress cool, maybe they have cool hobbies or lots of money, and it's like you want to be in that circle, but it's sort of like a magnet effect where you put two magnets with the same side together. Shit, I forgot about the science lesson, but it's when you put two magnets that are the same together and they're just repelling each other. That's what it feels like sometimes to try to squeeze into a circle that's just not meant for you. So don't stress out too much. Learn to be happy with yourself as yourself, and the right people will find you. The right people will find you. Trust. And I find that that sort of method has less of a chance of the relationship ending with you just regretting being with these people in the first place. So yeah, I don't know if what anything I said made sense. I really do have trouble sticking to one specific topic for an entire video. It could be the ADHD, or it could just be that I never prepare for these videos, and that's the result of my lack of preparedness. But either way, I hope you got some nuggets of wisdom. Although I wouldn't consider myself to be all that wise. I'm gonna eat dinner now. I haven't eaten dinner. You should eat if you haven't. You should also drink water if you haven't. Nobody wants to have neon yellow pee and stuff. So yeah, that's all. Peace and love. Goodbye. Be a good person. Make good art. Eat good food. I hope the people in your life are kind to you, and I hope that you are kind to the people in your life. Okay. Goodbye.